Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So, our bedtime story for today is the story of a little bird. Do you know Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam?
Yes.
Do you know there was a big king in his time? What was his name?
Namrud.
Was he a good person?
No.
What did he try to do?
Burn the prophet.
He tried to burn the prophet. Why?
Because he believed in one God and Namrud believed in idols.
Yes. So, what did he do then? He actually, what did he do?
He made a massive fire and made everyone in the city come and put fuel on it to make it bigger for a few days. Then it went so big, a bird couldn't even fly over it. It would get burnt if they went over it.
Yeah, so it was such a big fire that even a bird could not fly over it. That was such a big fire. And he made that, it was called a big inferno because he thought that he would burn Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam in that fire. Okay? So all the people in the town were bringing in a lot of fuel to add to that fire. But there was one little bird, a little sparrow. What was the sparrow doing? She was going to a nearby stream, filling its beak with little droplets of water and trying to pour it over the fire. Do you think it was a sensible thing to do?
I don't know, but it could be good.
Yeah, it is a good thing, but naturally, why? Somebody asked the bird that, is it sensible? How can you put out the fire? You are so small. How can you put out this fire? Why are you doing this? You know what the bird said? She said that the bird's reply was that, I know I'm too tiny. My efforts cannot put this fire out, but I am doing whatever is in my capacity, because on the day of judgment, when Allah will ask me that my friend was being thrown into a big fire and you were present at that time, what did you do to stop that? So I will not feel embarrassed in front of my Lord, because I will tell my Lord, though I was a very tiny little bird, but all I could do was to bring a little water in my beak and throw on the water, on the fire to put out. And that was all I could do. But I did my best. Do you understand what it means?
No.
No. If you try to understand, so you and I actually know what happened then. Basically, Namrud actually threw Hazrat Ibrahim in the fire. You know how?
He catapulted him with his hands tied and then he went into the fire.
Yes, so he was thrown into the fire. But what happened?
The fire didn't burn him, it burnt the ropes that were tying him. And then he was just doing
Yes.
dua to
So what happened? Allah helped, because Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam was Khalilullah. Khalilullah means friend of Allah. So who Allah sent to help?
Angel.
Angel Jibrail. Jibrail alayhi salam came to help Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam, and the fire felt like a cool garden to him. And when the whole fire was burned out, yes, he walked out and people were surprised. So Allah actually saved Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam. But uh, the bird did its bit. Okay. So what we can think about it, as humans, do we have any control over what's happening in this world?
No.
But everything is in Allah's control. We know that. But still, as Muslims, we are supposed to do our bit. Okay? Can you give me an example of what is happening in this world that we have no control over?
The people that are starving in Africa and Yemen and Palestine. Everywhere around the world, the homeless people are on the streets and dying of hunger. And the people that are in the tents and they don't get food and they're getting bombed and killed and
Yes, like people in Syria. So does that make you sad?
Yeah.
But can we do anything about it?
Yeah, at least a teeny bit.
Yeah, so we can do a teeny bit. How can we help them?
We can give them food and water. With
Water.
money, and then the charities make food packages. We can do dua for them.
Yes, we can even do dua for
That
them.
might be better than money. Dua, because
But no, dua is itself a good thing, but we have to do a little bit. So what I'm trying to explain to you is that the bird at least did a little bit. So naturally, we in our capacity, even if we are very, very, very rich and we give all our money, still it's not going to really help because the suffering in this world is too much. But still, we can't just think, okay, because we cannot finish whole of the suffering in the world, we should not do our bit. Does that make sense? Like, if you look at the suffering in the world, that is like this fire that was burning, okay? And what we could do would be, our effort would be like a few drops of water that we will be pouring over it. But one thing is that if we all do this together, if a lot of people do this, it will still burn out the fire. It will still help to some extent. So even if we do something and it helps a few people, we will still get reward. At the same time, if we are thinking about those people, we will be rewarded because Allah will think that we are good people because we have a good, sincere heart. We think about Allah loves those who love their fellow human beings, and Allah loves those who love the other creations of Allah. So Allah will always give us a reward if we are thinking about them or we are trying to do something, and even if we are doing a little bit. So, like the bird on the day of judgment, we will be able to tell Allah that Allah, there was a lot of people were suffering, and we did not have enough power or the wealth or the resources to help them, but we still tried our best. We felt sorry for them, we prayed for them, we gave out of our wealth whatever we could. We also tried to spread the word and ask other people and our friends to help. So that was the little bit we could do. So Allah looks at our intentions and our efforts. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And also, charity in the way of Allah is not just through money. Can you tell me how many different types of charity are there? Can you tell?
There are loads of them, like feeding people,
Good.
smile,
Yes. Do you know that a smile is also a charity? So for little kids who don't have money, they can still, if you smile at someone, that would be like a charity. Why you think smile is a charity?
Because it makes everyone happy.
Yeah, it makes. So just imagine if you're sitting in your home and your family and everybody has a bad mood and everybody's sulking. Does that feel good?
No,
And if everybody's smiling and happy, how does it feel?
Feels happy and no one feels angry.
Yeah, so it is
And
like
peaceful.
you feel peaceful and energetic. So do you think how important smile is?
Yeah.
That's why Allah gives you so much reward. And also any other good deed.
Someone,
Yeah, helping someone.
harmful things from someone's
Yes,
path and
removing harmful things from someone's path is also a charity. Do you know that? So if like you're walking and you see a thorny branch on the pathway on the road or a banana peel and you move it out of the way and throw it in the bin, you will get the reward of a charity.
or plastic, like loads of people do littering and
Yeah.
bottles and
So
things
littering is very bad. Yes.
taking plastic bottles and plastic things out of the sea so
Yes.
animals in the sea don't swallow and they get killed.
Very
Like
good. Yes.
turtles think that the bags, the plastic
Yes.
bags are jellyfish and eat them.
Yes. So so the good people will always take care that they do not pollute the area around them and give awareness to others and also try to find ways. So if you're using your brain in thinking of doing something that is going to benefit the humanity and other creations of Allah, you are doing a job of charity. Similarly, if you are helping anyone in any possible way, as little as bringing a glass of water for someone is charity. Do you know that?
Yeah, because it's
Because you're
helping
helping someone.
and helping one of the people
Yes.
Allah made.
So all Allah needs is a sincere and heart and good intention. So every good deed done with sincerity is an act of charity. So don't think that any act of charity is small. If you have a good intention, it will be very heavy on the scales in front of Allah. I'll give you a little story, okay? Another story. It's about a friend of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay, once the Muslims were going for a war and they needed a lot of resources. So Prophet asked his followers to bring whatever they can. So there were some very rich Sahaba, friends of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who had loads of money and they brought a lot of things. But then there was one of the Sahabi of the Prophet, a friend of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who was very, very poor. He did not have any resources. But what he did was he worked hard the whole day, did a lot of labor work, and whatever he earned that day, he could buy a handful of dates from that money. So he brought that dates to the Prophet, and he was feeling really embarrassed because, as compared to the big things that others had brought, his dates looked so little and insignificant. But Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam really thanked him. He was so pleased, and he said, "It's not the quantity that matters; it's the sincerity of the heart that matters." Does that make sense? So, if a person is poor and he gives whatever he has, that is as much as a billionaire giving all of his property to someone. Does that make sense? So if a poor person is bringing, let's say a person has just 10 pounds and he brings 1 pound, so that is 10% of all of his wealth. As compared to get that, if a billionaire is giving
millions
million,
of pounds, and the poor man with like 10 pounds, 100 pounds gives at least 10 pounds, will be more because he gave more of his money than the billionaire.
yes. So you understand? So in the eyes of Allah, from the world, when we see you, would say, oh, he has given too much, he's given too less. But Allah is seeing how much you had and from to what percent of that you have given and what your intention was. So if you give something with a pure intention, you will be rewarded. Now tell me one thing you have learned today from this story.
That you can do how much you can and take part in everything. Even if you do the smallest part, you can still get a reward for it.
Very good. And would helping someone be a charity?
Yeah, the poor people that are on the streets, it's good to give them money. See, whenever I see one, I want to give them money, and I do.
Money or food, or that helping, even helping home. So even if you're helping your mom with household work, do you know that would also be charity? Do you understand that? Do you know that it's a good proverb that charity begins
Oh,
at home? So see, will you begin your charity from home?
yes.
Okay.
I have to be a good
Yes.
teacher, then smile always, and then everyone gets happy at home, and then make more
Good.
people happy around the world.
That's true. So now this is the story to think about today, and you need to sleep. What do you read before going to bed?
Allahumma bismika amutu wa ahya.
Shabash. So have a good night's sleep. Allah Hafiz.